is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are going to be doing a top 10 box art, which is something that is usually never talked about. It's always the art in the actual game. And as you can clearly see, we are not in our usual format because of the current worldwide situation, but we will make do, and it actually ends up working out a lot better because we can use this PowerPoint that we made. So yeah, I think Brad, how'd you make your list? I'm assuming you probably just made it how much you like the art.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't by how much I like the game. It was the art.
Yeah.
So I didn't take how much I like the game necessarily into account.
Right. So, I mean, clearly art is extremely subjective. And I mean, there's going to be times where what I like is going to be completely different than what you like. And that's what makes these lists fun. So, Brad, I think you are first with an honorable mention.
First, yes. Let me see here. This is going to be a surprise because I haven't looked at this list for a while.
Right. Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to have to move our picture down a little bit. All right. So my honorable mention was Abyss. And as you can see, the picture I chose to put on there, it's when it came out, 6 years ago, maybe. I don't know when exactly. But
yeah, basically, it's edgy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. But they were, you haven't really heard of many games that came out and tried to do 5 individual covers. Obviously you don't want to go collect them all because that would be freaking expensive.
Right.
But I think I ended up with the guy on the far right when I own this. The game's okay. I don't own it anymore. But it was just kind of cool. The only problem with the cover I had was that I didn't have the actual name on the front.
Right.
You had it on the sides, but the art at that time was pretty cool. I mean, with the drips of water and I mean, just everything. It just looked kind of like you said, that one in the middle.
Oh, I know.
Just changed to Raphael.
Yeah. And I mean, and right off the bat, we are already to an art that I don't like. Like, I don't like this cover at all. But what's interesting is there's a game that just came out either this year or last year that kind of does a similar thing, but better, and that's the Cthulhu Death May Die, because it's just Cthulhu on the cover, and you can even barely see it on the cover. But I think it does kind of what this did. Just it just looks cooler. Yeah, here it's just like, this doesn't tell me anything about what the game's about. Like it's just these people, and it's like, who are these people? Are they in the game?
Oh yes, yeah, they are. They there are different races in the game that you're taking. So that's a box cover for each of the races.
Gotcha.
There's different regions of the board that you are trying to influence.
Okay. All right.
It is
cool.
It was just it was just unique.
Yeah.
When it came out, that was its big draw. Was the cool art and the 5 different covers.
I wonder how many people bought 5 different games thinking that they were different.
I would hope, and I would hope, because Legacy really wasn't a thing back then.
Oh yeah.
Because how everybody with those one Legacies, we're going to buy several copies to try to get all the different versions. I mean, this was touted as this is the same game, just collect the covers, which was kind of stupid. But yeah, art's good, I think.
All right, cool. Well, my honorable mention, if I remember off the top of my head what it is, you can go ahead and move it, is, yep, perfect, Edge of Darkness. So I personally prefer like scenic style art. I'm not big into kind of, portraits. I very much like landscape. And this just gives the complete evocation of Lord of the Rings. And that type of art style. It's not doing a whole lot, like there's not a whole lot of movement or action in it, but I think that it gives that presence of kind of what the game is, because that city in the middle that you can see, one looks like Gondor a little bit, and the fact that you see the encroaching darkness from the edge of the board, especially with like the different like those shadowy figures down at the bottom right.
Yes.
Like those are kind of the enemies inside. Oh, I don't remember what they call it, but essentially that darkness that is coming and going to attack the city. This is something that I would keep on my, like, hang up on my wall.
Yeah.
Obviously not with the edge of darkness in it, but uh, I just think this is a very beautiful piece. The art and the actual game is really good too. But I don't know. I really, really like this art. Like you can even see down in the river, they actually put in the reflection of the city, and then just kind of like the rolling fields, the farmlands that are outside of the city, and then you have all that lush green, all the beautiful mountains, and then you have everything dying on the edge from where the darkness is touching.
That's what I was gonna say, because it's like, in the top left, it's everything good, and it just kind of fades to the darkness and death.
Yeah.
And also, it shows distance. Like it looks like it's a long ways away, but yet it's not really. Kind of
Right.
like with the title. It's the edge of darkness. It's kind of like right on your doorstep.
Oh, right there. Yeah. That's another good point. You were you a art history major?
Yeah.
That's right. Cool. So you'll have a little bit more perspective on things than I will. But yeah, like this was a very close. This easily could have been on the list, but the other 10 I think just do a little bit more. So that's my honorable mention, Edge of Darkness.
Perfect. All right. So my number 10, or was it your number 10?
Oh, I guess we backed it.
10. So is Scythe. I couldn't remember who went first.
It went back and forth, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Spoiler. But anyway, so Scythe, another one of those. The game's good. I know you like the game better than I do, but the main reason I purchased this game was for the art. And then as you got more into the Kickstarter, how Stonemaier Games took the art and made a game around the art, whereas it's usually a 180. That we make
right.
the game, we would make the art for the game. This one, they took this world that I think Jacob, I can't think
Jacob Brzezalski.
Yes. But he created this whole alternate reality world, and then Jamie Stegmaier and the people with Stonemaier just created this really cool deep game around it, and then with all the expansions they kept it up and everything. So
I mean, because it's also set in like in a realistic world, just an alternate Europa is really what it is. Like, It's not, I mean, I guess you can call steampunk fantasy.
Yes.
I guess sci-fi. It's like a weird amalgamation of the two.
But like you can look, if you look at the tall grass and stuff kind of down in this area right here, it's really nothing. It's just a bunch of weird strokes and stuff. But take a step back and everything, it looks like tall grass.
Right.
And the people are all very real looking. It almost reminds me of like a Native American. That old realism art and stuff. But there's a lot going on in that picture.
Yeah, there really is. Like, I think whenever you take a look at it, like from the right side, and like you mentioned with the grass and stuff, it's like it's not detailed at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it gets closer, it comes into focus. And what I love about this piece is that when you play the game, you can go back and look at the cover, and then it tells even more of a story because of the theme of the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, this isn't a war game. In fact, I think there's only a few mechs here that are shooting something, but the rest are more for protection.
Right.
And then you have the farmers who are actually gaining all the resources to try and actually like survive, and they're just caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and then you have all the flags. You can kind of tell which soldiers and stuff are for which, which mechs are for which ones and stuff.
Yep.
even to the title, the way that they wrote the title
Mm-hmm.
is pretty unique too. I mean, it fits the cover.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like outlandish.
Right.
It like it's there, you can see it, but it's not like trying to take up like the whole box or the whole picture.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I love this piece. This is definitely a better choice than your honorable mention.
We'll see. All right. Are you ready for yours?
Yep, my number 10. My number 10. God, I was just talking about this game too, and I'm like, man, I gotta play it again. So this piece in particular, the reason why I picked it, besides it being one of my favorite games of all time, is the fact that it reminds me of like old school D&D art, or even old Magic the Gathering art.
Hmm.
That it kind of holds that what this game invokes is the like atypical fantasy. There's nothing special really about it. It's just fantasy. Um, and whenever you take a look at this, there's so much going on that it almost seems too busy, but it's really not, because you can actually, the whole point of the game is to get to the middle, and in the middle is the crown, and then so you see all the different heroes that are running around trying to get to the middle of the board to grab the crown of command, and then they get like all that power. And I just really like how if you look, you can see all the different types. You have the warrior, then you have the cleric, and then the wizard, dwarf, ranger, sorcerer, and then at the very back there's like there's a goblin, and then a thief. Uh, Man, this entire time I thought that thief right there in the back by the crown, I thought he had wings. I thought he was some like imp, but nope. There's actually a like warlock behind him. Um, because the entire game you're not on a team, so you're fighting one another to try and actually get this power, and you can actually see that some of them are fighting one another, and then you have, of course, you have to have a dragon on the
Yeah.
in if it's going to be fantasy, you have to have dragons, and then also with the dragon expansion, it does add them. So I just love I just love everything about this. I like how you can actually even see the dragon's wings and encroaching on the other two on the corners.
Right.
Um, Even by the wording of it, just has that very old school. Oh man, I don't even know what time period like all that would come out as.
Yeah. It's the thing that stands out the most with me is like you have the gold border.
Oh yeah,
Normally that just showcases the piece, but then you have two other characters. Like it's like they're jumping through the border, trying to
yeah.
get the action. It's kind of a
Almost like that path kind of carries through, and they're running up as well trying to get there.
right.
Oh, that's the wizard down at the bottom right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got to get back to playing this game. It's been so long. But yeah, this artwork I absolutely love. So that's my number 10.
All right. So my number 9 is Ashes
Oh
of
yeah.
Phoenix Born. Um, Again, another game that I owned and I don't own anymore. Um, Not because I didn't like the game, it's just because it's a competitive game and nobody around here played it at all.
Right.
But this is it's a competitive one versus one card game. But if you look at this deal, there's all these different factions, I guess, or races, and they somehow fit it into that oh, what am I trying to say? The shape of a phoenix. There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff going on in there. Um, but what I think makes it pop the most is because it has the white cover.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that makes just everything super stand out. And that's how all the cards were in the game. All the cards in the game were white background and the color just bounced. Um, it had the same artist. I think it's Francesca something. I can't remember her last name. She did the art for this, but she's just amazing with the different stuff. And if you looked at all the cards throughout the game and stuff, I mean, it mirrors all this as well. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I mean, because that's a lot of those pictures aren't even card art. That's like unique for the cover as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Some of it's card art. I mean, but it's just unique when you try to take a picture, trying to make a cover like that, and you're limiting your space to
Right.
the shape of the phoenix.
Yeah.
So you have to get creative in how you put all that stuff in there to try
Yeah. I love this cover. I think the just how vibrant everything is, and I mean you can't really tell like too much. Like there's no really like there you can tell that they're all supposed to be fighting one another, but you can't tell if anyone's fighting a particular person.
Mhm.
But they just did so many cool things from wing to wing. Like there's so many different things going on, and my favorite piece out of uh this whole cover is the fact that you have like that Thor guy in the head.
Right.
That's just so cool. Like this cover makes me want to play the game. One, because I really like Plaid Hat
Mhm.
card games. And is this one still going on? Are they still supporting it? Or
Not
did they?
really. There's a lot
Okay.
of content out for it though. Like I think you would like this game because you build a deck a lot like a Magic deck or something.
Uh-huh.
But you depending on what you choose in your deck will decide what your dice pool is, because you actually roll dice and you spin the dice to pay for your actions that you
Oh,
do
okay.
and do different stuff. So it's like you're trying to kill the other sorcerer or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
they're Phoenix born.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's so many different, there's the dark with blood magic, and then there's like
Yeah.
the Egyptian lady, a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
But it kind of mixes. I don't know how to explain it, but it just brings that dice mechanic in, and there is
Right.
manipulation of the dice.
I think you made a good point by they did so much and did such a great job while also staying in the confines of that Phoenix. Now, I mean, obviously there's people outside of it and there's things going outside, but they're relatively near that shape. Um, so you can still tell what it's supposed to be. And it's funny because I feel like this came out there was a weird time period where a lot of people were trying to do that white cover. Time
Right.
Stories did it. Alien Artifacts did it, and they're both so fucking boring looking
Mhm.
that you have this, and it's not. So it's like, great job to whoever. What was her name?
It's Francesca
Francesca.
something. I can't think of her last. She also did. She did in Dead of Winter as well. Uh,
Oh, that's right.
she's done a lot of bigger games and stuff. But
Cool.
but yeah, and she's still doing stuff now. She's just got announced on some game. I just know one that's going to come out too. But yeah, it's a good one. I wish there was people around here that played it so that I could, you know,
So you could actually play it.
yeah, because it was wonderful. It was what I kind of was wanting to get into after Netrunner. Oh no, it's Fernanda Suarez. That's who it is.
Wow. Wow. Francesca and Fernanda, how dare
Yeah,
you?
I know that's pretty kind of racist, but Fernanda Suarez, that's who it is. And
Well, cool.
she's
Good
done a lot of
choice.
stuff. Dead of Winter and Century Spice Road, and yeah,
Oh yeah, Century Spicer. That's the one where like all the boxes connected, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. I've
Yeah.
played the Gollum edition, the one that,
Okay.
and she did that art too. So
Cool.
anyway, yep, that's
Awesome.
my number 9, Ashes.
Well, my number 9 is. Oh God, this game is so good. Like, here's the thing. Every piece of art is wonderful for Everdell. Um, and I honestly could have picked any of the expansions and their art because they are really good too. But of course, we got to go back to the base game, and it's so wonderful. It's extremely pretty. The way that the title is just like how it's written with the little leaf on the end of the E.
Right.
Um, just it gives that sense of warmth and happiness and peace, which the game actually kind of just you know entices because there's really no evil. You're not defending yourself from anything. You're not going to war. You're really just prepping for the next winter and going about how you would do that within the theme of the game. And I have a huge thing for anthropomorphized animals. I think that it's just adorable and always really interesting. So yeah, this game is just extremely beautiful. I wish I really should find out who the artists are, um, because I need to give them props. I will be doing that. Uh, but yeah, like it's so good. I love seeing how, like, I always love whenever you can tell that they didn't try to make it modern or try to make it to where the animals live in like a modern society. They use the resources that they would have as animals in a forest to live in. So all of these houses, some of them are actually, like, for the birds, they're actually like tree houses that run up the side on the right side. That clock tower looks like it's made out of a log, with the water wheel. It's so good. I love it.
It
I love this
reminds
art.
me of I don't know if you know because it was came out when I was younger. The Secret of Nim.
I have heard. Yeah, I never watched it.
That is what it
But
reminds me of.
yeah,
But yeah, and also
yeah,
if you look at it, it's like that forest never ends. You know, it just you can just
oh
keep
yeah,
walking, and you're just going to be in forest forever.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. In fact, you can even see very in the way in the back. You can even see some of the buildings from the light from the sun.
right?
Um, Andrew Bosley is the artist. Well, Andrew Bosley, Cody Jones, and Dan May. They're the artists for this game, and they just did a wonderful job. And then they carried it on over into their expansions. Like it's fantastic there too. So
Well,
yeah, props to them for this.
at the time I made this list, I hadn't played this yet.
Oh, that's right. You
Now
have
I
now.
have. I played it a few times, and it's definitely the cover feels like the game. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, this was an obvious choice for the box art list, because when people talk about Everdell, I think they almost have like a convulsion if they to say how good the art is, and if
Right.
they don't, they just have like a aneurysm. So that's my number 9, Everdell.
All right. Let's see what my number 8 is. My number 8 is Fire Team Zero. Um, you really have to look at this one to see the detail. You know, there's because it looks just like a normal horror type cover. You know, to start,
Yeah,
but when you really get in there and you start looking at it, you see the details of the monsters and that chalice that's on fire in the back.
God, I hate that chalice.
Well, and the thing that really draws me in on this is because the Pieta was it's a sculpture that's in Rome right now, and it's of the dead Jesus sitting on being held by his by Mary, you know,
Yeah,
and she's so much larger. Like they said in the sculpture, if she stood up, she'd be like 9 feet tall, and he's
yeah,
normal. So they kind of made her so much bigger than what she's. But that's it back there in the back. But it's like a skeleton. You know, it's
right.
like it's kind of dark.
It's
You know,
very like cultish
right?
almost. Um, Yeah, this one's a really cool one. Almost because you can get the feeling of action
Oh yeah,
and suspense and fear, because they're just like, it's almost like they found that chalice and they're like, oh, this is it. This is what we're looking for. Then these creatures show up and they're just like, oh shit. Now they're like
right.
ready to go fight.
Yeah, and sadly I don't think this company is around anymore.
I don't think so either.
Website totally dead and everything. So you know, I don't know what'll happen with it
The
anymore.
only thing that I don't like about this cover, and I just mentioned it, is that chalice. That
Yeah.
chalice just feels so pasted on. Like
Um,
they wanted to illuminate the skull, like, of Mary in some way, but couldn't figure out how to do it, so they just placed a fire chalice on Jesus's crotch.
well, and I think that chalice thing comes into play at some point in the game. I haven't gotten all the way through the campaign, so that might be because there's a miniature for that.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm wondering if it's like maybe the last mission's big big goal or something. I don't know. But
Maybe just like from Jesus's groin, the chalice arises, and you're like, I don't even want this anymore.
you gotta, yeah. Anyway, even if that is an important part at the end of the game, it's kind of out of context with this cover a little bit.
Yeah.
Those
It's also kind of weird.
Yeah.
There's 4 people on the squad, right?
Yes.
So you can definitely see in focus they actively made it to where it's like, okay, there's these 3. I didn't even know this, but on the right side you see the 4th guy.
Yep, the grenade.
I thought he was one of the enemies, but it's like, why is he just like he's the guy on the squad that they don't even like.
No, he chucks
so, like,
grenades. He's the grenade guy.
Yeah, but it's like everyone else. You see the guy on the left in the bowler cap. He's firing, which is cool. You have the dude with the daggers ready to fight in the gas mask. He's awesome. And then the other guy with the shotgun. And you're like, man, okay, the 3-man squad. Oh, wait, no. Who's that dude? Oh, that's the guy that they're hoping dies from these enemies.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, other than the weird chalice and the 4th guy that no one likes, this is a really good cover. I like it too.
Perfect. All right. So let's take a peek at your next.
Yeah, my number 8 is there it is. All right. Scythe. I mean, there's not too much to talk more about this one besides the fact that I absolutely love it. I mean, Scythe being my favorite game. You mentioned it earlier that they took the artwork and built a game around it, which, I mean, I don't know if the guy that made the art, so Jacob Brzezowski, if he was working for him at the time and he's just like, oh, hey, look, Jamie, it's my doodles. And they're like, oh, wow, let's make a game.
He was not. He
wasn't working with...
Totally independent.
Oh, okay.
I think Jamie Stegmaier saw it and became a fan of the art, and he approached him.
Gotcha. And I know Jamie does stuff like that, and I think more people need to do that because there's so much amazing artwork out there, freelance artwork, or just people who are like, oh yeah, no, I just like to draw. And board gaming, I mean, so does video games. Both of them revolve heavily around their cinematics and their art. That you could easily go up to these and be like, wow, this I would have never thought of this when trying to make a game.
Right.
So great, you already did the hard part. Now I'll just use my actual experience in game making and build it around your world or your art style. And I just think that's what sets Scythe apart from all the rest of them.
Yeah.
And for that alone, this should be number 1 in terms of innovation. But it's number 8. It's not number 1.
No, your Candyland is number 1, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. It might be number 2. I definitely like Chutes and Ladders.
All right, so my number 7 is Shadows of Brimstone. This one stands out mainly because this is Flying Frog's first game that they didn't do the photography cheesy art with.
Yeah.
So they actually brought some art into this cover, and it doesn't, like, if you just see it on the shelf, it's just kind of there, but when you have to really get in and when you look at it, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Bandito because that's who I usually control, and he's chucking dynamite just like he normally does in the deal.
Yeah.
But there's just those spiders coming out everywhere, and your night terrors up in the top right, and there's a lot of action going on in that one.
There's even the tentacles like coming up from the floorboard.
Right.
And grabbing that dude's leg. That's why he's screaming.
Yeah. So I mean, this game being a Western with a horror theme on it, I chose this cover because there's 2 of the core game covers that came out. This one and the Swamps of Death or something like that. I can't remember.
I think that's right.
This one had a little more action on it, so I chose this one. Same art and everything, but this cover conveys what the game's about because you just get totally surrounded.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping for a miracle at that point, Yeah,
you're hoping that the Bandito's stick of dynamite actually lands where you want it to land.
Right. and the art part is the part reason this is up here. I don't necessarily like the clip art Shadows of Brimstone title thrown on the top, because everything else is kind of dark and kind of, I don't know how to explain it.
It's almost grainy. It feels kind of like, I feel like they did a really good job conveying the art in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
But then yeah, you're right. It is a little grainy and darker and almost made from colored pencils.
Right.
And then you do have the clip art Shadows of Brimstone there with the TM. So
Like,
it's trademarked. So
right.
we know that.
They could have done something like Scythe did, that's kind of that fading out or the weathered look of it or something. I mean, it's on old wood. You'd think they could have made it a little more, but it's neither here nor there.
But I mean, they're not used to doing art. They're like normally they're in their costumes.
Right. So, but anyway, that Shadows of Brimstone, all their covers have the same art too for all their expansions and everything. So it's all good across the board.
That's true. Like I haven't seen their cover for their new one, the Forbidden Fortress.
Yeah.
Is that their?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's but I'm not huge into that feudal Japan stuff. So
They're all actually similar. Like they have like the main, like the heroes in the middle, and then they have like enemies and stuff surrounding them. They all follow that same type of dynamic.
Right. I was looking at it myself, but yeah, it's the same thing.
Good deal.
Yep.
I think out of all of them, I think I like the Swamps of Death.
Oh yeah,
a little bit more.
Like I said, I kind of tossed it around on those two. I guess because when you play this game, the one City of Ancients is generally the place you'll kind of start with. You don't go to the swamps as much. So like this one has more of a familiar feel that has the bad guys that you face most often early in a campaign.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. But they're all relatively the same picture, but just different monsters around them.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so your number 7
should be my number 7 is Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven. The artist for this one is Alexander Elichev, Josh McDowell, and Alvaro Nevitt. I butchered probably all of those. This one, at first glance, would almost feel awful. Like, just because it's a lot of brown.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you kind of, can get past that, like you can kind of definitely see it's definitely more in a sunset type of lighting, and there is so much cool things going on that evoke the feeling of Gloomhaven. Like on the bottom right, you have like a it's not even really a peddler, but just some homeless guy sitting down there and this is almost borderline fantasy realism. So I really like that. But you have him laying down there. You have some merchant who's probably pawning and selling some magic items. And with all the different, of course, creatures that are unique to Gloomhaven, at least the world that Isaac Childress has made, you have that little rat-looking thing who's playing cards over in that, because you have the right side, that's the market, left side is the sleeping lion, which is pretty fun because that's where you start in the game. And then right above that, you have some blue chick, or no, some purple chick. Down way below, you have this thief or this rogue who is wielding some mystical poison dagger. So that's probably one of the most colorful aspects of the whole cover.
Yeah,
is that dagger. And then even up at the top, the very top with the tightrope, you have some guy standing on there, or he's flying, or he's doing something. I think he's tightroping.
He's tightroping. Yeah.
And then with all that, right in the middle, you have, her name's Jaxera, and she, with her 2 bodyguards, and she's the one who kind of kickstarts your campaign. So there's a lot going on, but you can clearly see it all, and it also has story elements to it. So that's why I think this cover is fantastic.
Do you think this one's better than Frosthaven?
I'm actually looking up Frosthaven right now to see if to see the cover for that.
I think this one has more
Wow,
going.
hey man, Frosthaven already has a 6.7 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's amazing considering it's not even out.
I think it passed KDM today too.
Oh, on Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's the most backed one ever.
I like Gloomhaven's cover better.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's more going on and more hidden stuff to keep you looking.
Yeah. Now Frosthaven, it looks like what Frosthaven's going to be about. Don't get me wrong, this is not a bad cover. In fact, you would think I would like this more because I very much prefer mountains and all that, but they're kind of in the background. But all your focus gets pulled towards the chick fighting that ice creature. Whereas in this one, your focus does go towards the lady and her two bodyguards, but they're not imposing, they're not anything, so you are free to look around instead of constantly being drawn to the middle. Whereas Frosthaven doesn't, all the action is happening right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's I would pick Gloomhaven cover over Frosthaven, but
I would too.
But yeah, this one I really like, and even though it is a lot of brown, like it does have kind of a cool fantasy sunset feeling to it. So yeah, that's my number 7.
And I think real quick, it has all that same color, the hues of the color, but I think that makes it to where your eye just kind of wanders and you see all that stuff. You know, like if
True.
If that whatever her name was in the middle, you normally your eyes would just be stuck on those things, but since all the colors kind of run together, you kind of just your eyes kind of wander. And you know, I never saw the dude up at the top doing the high wire walking.
Yeah.
Until we talked about it, you know, a few months ago.
Right.
So it's just everything kind of runs together, and you can.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. That is. I think with Frosthaven, they might have tried to not make it so brown, and it honestly probably hurts it a little bit more. That's a good point.
This one gets a lot of like the Everdell, I feel. You know, like there's a lot of distance and all the colors kind of jive together really well, and it kind of makes you look at everything. I think the same kind of technique.
And even the title, like Gloomhaven, like it's not imposing. Like I was talking about everything that was happening around it and forgot the title was actually even there.
Right.
So it does a good job at somehow blending in, even though it's completely a different color than the whole board or the whole cover.
Yep.
So good deal.
All right. Going to number 6. This one is a game we both like. It's Aeon's End.
Now I'm intrigued as to why you picked this one over, the 15 other.
Because it has the huge focal point of that nameless right there. The other ones, there's a lot of action going on, but the heroes take the center stage a lot in those covers. This one, everything comes from like when you look at this cover, the first thing that pops out is the open mouth of that huge dude, you know.
Yeah.
And he's very, since they chose red and there's a lot of blues and blacks as your background, he really stands out, and he looks menacing, which they should.
That's true. And then he has those blind little puppies underneath him.
Right. I mean, you can, and I barely even pay attention to those, you know. I like you point out now, but I chose this one just because it had the big focal point of that nameless, and it shows how menacing they are. The other covers did as well, but this one just seemed to show that much more. You know, you get a lot of action from the your mages and stuff, but yeah. And this was the second edition. The first edition cover was similar, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah,
I have Board Game Geek pulled up over on my laptop. Yeah, I mean, everything about Aeon's End was like first edition was so clunky.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks so bad. But then they started getting more funding, and then therefore could put more money and time into art, and it's just vastly improved since then. I mean, I would agree with you here. This one definitely gives you the feeling of what Aeon's End is, because all you do is fight these nameless.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. The Aeon's End Legacy cover is pretty fucking cool. Like that black box with just the title. God. No, but seriously, like there's War Eternal. That one has a pretty cool one too.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you're right.
I like them all, but this one just had the menacing stand, the focal point.
Yeah, like in all the other ones, you have War Eternal and New Age, and then they have another one coming out, show you the abilities of like the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
But this one does the opposite. It shows some of the magic coming from the four breach mages. But yeah, it's like, hey, well, what are they doing? Well, they fight these big monsters.
Right.
And this one shows that a little bit more than the other ones. The other ones do have monsters. The other covers.
Well, I was looking at War Eternal. War Eternal doesn't show any monsters. It shows it's like the heroes coming, like you're the monster.
Yeah.
Coming at you. It's
right.
Viewpoint.
Out of all of them, War Eternal is probably the weakest. New Age does have monsters. And then they have, I don't even remember their fourth one that's coming out. Outcasts. That's it. Now, Outcasts, that one does what this does, but a little bit more.
Right.
So that one's really good too. But I mean, this is a good choice. It's also pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. And this was my first jump into it after you taught me how to play it. This was the first thing I bought. But yeah, I just like having the monster stand out so much.
Right. And have you fought this monster?
I don't think so yet.
He's a pain in the ass, just like all of them are. Right? He's something else. He has like a rage deck. And so, because, I mean, that's really what he's all about, is just rage. I mean, in terms of design for him, I mean, he's horrifying. I wouldn't stand around to fight this thing. But he is pretty simple. But I think that's what makes Aeon's End kind of great, is making it simple.
Right.
So awesome.
All right.
For the record, before we go to my number 6, you're right. Gloomhaven or Frosthaven did surpass Kingdom Death Monster.
I thought I heard that a little bit ago.
Yeah, they made fucking 12, almost $13 million.
Yep.
They were 50,000 away. No, 30,000 away from $13 million.
KDM was like 12 million something.
Yep. KDM was the highest for a while, but thank God something better surpassed it. So now KDM has nothing.
All right. You ready for your number 6?
Hell yeah.
All right, here we go.
God, this game sucks. This is such a weird pick, because from taking a look at it, there's not a whole lot here. But I think it's kind of like, it's tied into a lot of other picks. It's the theming of the game and how well the art of the cover represents it. And with this being in a black and white setting, even with the sun, just the way that everyone is depicted walking, you get a very depressed and cold feeling. That could also be because the game has that theme surrounding it, so I'm kind of like pushing that onto the cover. But you can clearly tell it's a war-torn city that no one's having fun. No one wants to be there. But they are. And the fact that you just have that, I mean, even that title is just kind of off to the side, and everything you're seeing is this, like, nothing's on fire, no one's getting shot. It's all about the people and the ones who are affected by war.
Well, and it's whoever the artist is for this, because I think we've talked about this before, it looks like a photograph. That's
right, yeah.
It's so real. But you can tell if you look up at the, this top area right here.
Yeah.
You can see the brush strokes.
Oh, yep.
But it's, it looks like a photograph.
Yeah.
The way that it looks like the sun is shining off the window there in the upper center a little bit.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
It just looks so real.
And that's a really good point. The artist is Pal Nitsiolek, Michael Orax, and Piotr Gasik. So they're suing me. The like one of my favorite things about this piece is that just how much emotion he's able to depict. Like you mentioned, it does feel like a photograph. You have the people huddling in the back, either they're talking or they're trying to get warm.
Right.
Almost they have a sense of like a lost feeling, because it's like, well, where do I fucking go? I can huddle up in this house and try and make it best, but this house is, run down. And yeah, I didn't even realize that, like, because you have the sun, like they didn't have to make it cold, or they didn't have to make it dark and snowy to
Right.
show you, hey, by the way, this sucks. It's like there's really, you see it from the guy in the middle. He's wearing a heavy jacket and everything is black and white, but the sun's still out. That doesn't mean anything is better.
Right.
Because in fact, I don't think anything gets better by the end of the game.
Not any time I've played it.
Yeah, I mean, because most of the time you're losing anyway. But it's I really, because I mean that would be it would remove all the tension if by the end of, I think there's 3 chapters. By the end of the 3rd chapter, it's just like, oh, yep, you guys survived and everything's better. It's like, no, even if the Allies or wherever this is located,
Right.
even if they won, I mean, life doesn't just immediately go back to normal. So I think that they captured that really well with this cover. So that's my number 6.
All right, my number 5 is
Oh yeah, I forgot you did pick this one.
and this one I chose. Well, Ryan Lockett, he has that one particular art style. He does the art for all of his games. The majority of them are from the same world that he's created.
I think they're all in the same world.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's any that aren't, but yeah, I think is Artifacts Inc. Is that in the same world? Because that was I've never played it, so I don't know. But
I haven't either. I don't know. I just assume that he does the writing and the art all himself. So probably make it easier on him if they were just in the same world.
Right. I chose this because I just like how the sky is so vibrant, but it shows, there's all that life below ground as well, because you in this game, you're building your village above and below ground, and you go on adventures when you go below ground, and those, I can't remember what they call those guys.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, there's that race of those weird creatures down there at the bottom that you kind of
like
to
fish. I think they're like fish people.
Yeah, something like that. But I just chose it because it's just it encapsulates what this game is about. I mean, it's, you have your village. There's all this stuff going on below. You've got that middle part right there. You see tree roots and like the dinosaur. I'm not saying dinosaur bones, animal bones. But then having just that blue sky just makes everything seem to pop.
It makes it seem happy.
Right.
Like, I just looked up Near and Far. I do like this one better, this cover better than the Near and Far. Near and Far it's all brown, and I mean, like I mentioned that with Gloomhaven. However, there's not a whole lot happening in the Near and Far cover to pull your eyes away from, to kind of look around. You're like, yep, okay, there's a bridge and brown mountains. All right, that's what I got. Here, at least, it's a very simple concept. Yet you build your city above, and then you have your adventures below. And it's like, oh, okay, who are these cute little, fish people with red eyes and a spear? I'm kind of intrigued. It's a good one. But which one of his is better?
Sleeping Gods.
Sleeping Gods. That cover, I was looking at it. It doesn't even look like his art style, honestly. So
it's scary. You see how big that fish is, that monster underneath is compared to the boat.
God, it freaks me out. It freaks me out just looking at it. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say to talk about on this one.
I
Yeah,
guess
they
the
did.
last thing I would say would be the title, how it's kind of like written like clouds too.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Not
point.
shape, but the
That's a
color.
nice touch. And it's good he didn't make them in clouds. That would have been stupid.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, that's my number 5, above and below.
Cool. My number 5, in all honesty, shouldn't even be on the list. Okay, no, this is a really cool one. My number 5 is SIMURGH, or SIMURGH, or whatever, a game that no one talks about. However, the company, funny enough, side note, the company for this is now the same ones that do Teotihuacan, um, Trismegistus, and they have another one coming out. Fucking, that's about like, I think, Egypt. Anyway,
Well, it was you're saying what'd you say? It's the
same
people.
company that did Teotihuacan.
Yeah, that would be well, Zolkin was in that company too,
Oh, yep.
wasn't it? Or no, that was designer, not company. Sorry.
Okay. So this one, the game is actually about like dragon riders or some academy where you go off on quests to basically just gather points and some resources to help you raise dragons. This one, I really like the atmosphere and the theme that this cover gives off. It is so pretty to look at, and I mean, I can't say really a whole lot more, but like I love the design of the birds that they're riding because I think that's supposed to be their dragons, and if it's not their dragons, it's their mounts that they use to go on their quests, and then the dragons are actually
I think
in the city.
I think that's I agree with you. I think they're
Oh,
dragons.
okay. Yeah, but I mean, there's so much immaculate detail in this when it comes to the leaves on the trees. It's not just some, fingerprint smudge to represent the tree leaves. There's actually different leaves. You have the people down in that gazebo type area down at the bottom there. Actually, it gives you that really cool, almost magical fantasy school like academy era that I want to visit this. I think that even whenever you look at the back building that's built into the mountain,
Hmm.
like the mountain was actually like they carved the peaks in to make their buildings. This just looks so freaking cool. Uh, let's see, SIMURGH. I'm gonna find out who the artist is.
I was going to tell you while you're looking that up, you were thinking about games that this company made.
Yeah.
One of your favorite games was made by this company, Dice Settlers.
Oh man, that one, man, that should honestly be my number one box art too. God, that game sucked. Uh, yeah, and I knew they had made that, and it's amazing because they made way better games and how that's even on their repertoire. But yeah, this one has Angar, Adirasa, Angie Ska Capera, and Odysseus Stamaglu. Yeah, so those really well-known artists with their pronounceable names were the ones who did this, and I really like this. I remember first hearing about it, and I was like, okay, this was kind of around the same time I was also getting into some worker placement, and I was like, all right, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And this was one that Kat really liked, and I've kept it around. I mean, no one talks about it. No one says anything about this game, but I love it, and the art this is one of the first two games that I actually thought of when making this list. So that's my number 5, SIMURGH.
All right. My number 4 is Call to Adventure.
This is a good one.
What drew me in on this one, just when you just first look at it, you see how everything's cut right down the middle between good and evil. And then if you look at, their little saying up at the top, craft your hero, claim your destiny, because you can go either way on this. You can be evil, you can do bad things.
Right.
And then you can obviously can be good and do good things. But if you look, there's so much different, even though it's the same castle or the same city. It's just it just stands out as being a really neat. It's kind of, if you notice down there at the bottom, like when it gets close to the hero, that it's kind of splotchy a little bit, but then it kind of goes up and it just extends, and you can just see the mirror image of the good and evil. the guy that did this was Matt Paquette,
Yeah.
was the artist, and he's done like Thunderstone Quest and Tiny Towns
Oh, okay.
and Mystic Vale, so he's
Really?
yeah, so he's been on some pretty big games. Um, but and this art kind of goes right along with everything else. It goes right in with the expansions. They've got all these big expansions coming out that kind of do the same thing with the where they're using, what is it, the Steam, not Steam Forge, Stormlight deal. It's going to be a whole standalone game as
Oh,
well.
okay.
But
Oh yeah, Stormlight Archive, and then the one they did was it Name of the Wind?
yeah, that was it. Yeah, I think
Yeah, they do have that split. That is a really cool idea though, with the split, especially because it tells you kind of what the game's about. Or whenever you play the game, you can look at it and be like, oh, okay, good and evil, and you
right.
can make that decision. Yeah, I think this is an awesome cover.
It just catches your eye. Before I even knew what the game was about, I always thought it looked good, and that I wanted it just because of the cover.
That's true. Like, I mean, this game kind of fell flat for me, but whenever you're looking at things more just based off of their art cover, this is one that I would definitely go out of my way to at least figure out because of just how unique that this art style is.
Right.
Good choice.
That's really all I have to say about that one.
Cool.
All right.
My number 4 is another one that I immediately thought of with this list. And here's the thing. This one is probably, out of all of my choices, the most simple. And I think what it comes down to is it gives you that feeling of being on Mars. Like, there's nothing flashy about being on that planet. It's very granular, dry, desert style. And the only thing that is on that planet are things that we've put on there. And so when you're playing the game, you're essentially terraforming it to make it habitable. And this cover, I think just captures that so well. I think what makes me want to put it so high on the list is I love this color, like the color palette that they chose for it. It's unique. I don't know. I really can't praise this enough and explain why I'm praising it, but I really like this one.
It has a movie feeling to it.
Almost like a movie trailer type of, or at least like a cover.
How they have the title where on is behind Mart, it's kind of like, I don't know. It just reminds me of like something like a movie poster or something.
Yeah. I mean, and the artist is Ian O'Toole, who he's actually done the art for all of his games.
Ian O'Toole has done art for so many big things.
Yeah, his Board Game Geek page, he has 70.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did Black Angels art cover, CO2, Escape Plan. Yeah, so Ian O'Toole just does it for me for a lot of the cover. Oh, he also did, that one's weird. So yeah, like this one, with all the Vito Lasarda games, this one is my favorite art cover, box art. So yeah, I mean, this is it. Yeah, this is on Mars.
Yep, I agree with it. It's a good one. All right, my number 3, we've already talked about.
Yeah.
And I put this on here before I even played it. I mean, so, it obviously, I didn't make my list by how much I like the game, but
right.
But the art inside the game mirrors the outside of the box for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There really isn't much more to say on this one, other than, like I said earlier, it reminds me of the Rats of Nim and
Secrets of Nim.
Yeah, because it was like, you had mice families and you had the badgers and rats and squirrels and just all kinds of craziness. So
right.
Just get that feeling when I only happier. Because the Secret of Nim was just dark.
That's what I've heard. And here's the thing: is like, how can you not look at this cover and see the squirrel, the mouse, and then that honey badger, and not be like, this is adorable?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that the art of this box alone is going to get a lot of people to play it
Yeah.
that maybe aren't even big time gamers.
I mean, it gives like almost a false sense of what the game's going to be about, because you see this and you're like, oh, it's going to be a cute family game, and then you find out it's some deeper worker placement.
Yeah.
Love it. Love this game.
Yep. I don't have really anything else to say about it. It's a good one.
Cool.
All right, you ready?
My number 3. Oh yeah, this was a late entry because by the time I made the list, I hadn't played this, and then I had played it, and it's actually at this point, is it on my channel? I don't know. However, this is Vincent Dutrait. I like a lot of his artwork, and this one, which is funny because Kat actually doesn't like this art. I love it. This comes down to the color, and this shows exactly what is happening in the game with like the flood sinking into Atlantis and like the wrath and anger of the gods because Atlantis was advancing and relying on science too quick and not praying anymore. So the gods are like, well, because you're not praying to us, we're going to kill you. That'll get you to pray to us. And it's like,
Right.
what? But you get a very sense of like urgency because in the game you're building all this tech, gathering resources to be able to make this portal that the Atlanteans can get through to safety. But I love this. I love the water that's coming in. I love the meteors and the lightning that's crashing, hitting the buildings and destroying everything while everyone's running around and focused on trying to get this portal actually built. And even then, you see in the middle, like right in the middle of the box, that's their safety. Like, we can get through here, we can get to this lush forest with mountains, and we're not going to be drowning or dying. So I love it. And then the colors just add even more emotion to it.
That's what I was going to say. I like the colors, and there's a lot of action going on in this. I don't know if you've seen the original, the first edition of this.
It is horrible. It looks like an old school, like early 90s PC.
I actually prefer the original cover.
That is horrible. Are you looking at it?
Yeah.
It is horrible. This is what I would expect to see on like a CD-ROM for an Atlantis Rising PC game. That looks horrible. That looks awful. I hate it. This is so much better.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't disagree with this being on your list or anything. I like it. It's just if I had to choose between the two.
This doesn't even tell you anything. Like,
I know.
The original just shows that there's some beam shooting into the sky.
Yeah.
And a whirlpool underneath it, but it's like, how is that even affecting the fucking island? This is so much better.
So yeah.
But anyway, to each their own. Art's subjective. So that's my number 3.
All right.
My Rising
2, I don't think you necessarily care for, but I picked Valhalla.
Boo.
I chose this just because every single time I've looked at this cover over the last few years,
you fall asleep.
No, I just the dude in the middle, the leaping Viking coming down, and maybe it has something to do. I don't know if you've watched the History Channel show Vikings.
Nope, I want to.
Yeah, I've watched that through a few times, and that guy in the middle reminds me of one of the characters. And
gotcha.
That's exactly what he would do, and it's just badass, like, it's kind of got that weird realism. It's got, I don't think if they use that blue hue around that it would be as good. Like if they move more just like a normal, but that blue makes things kind of, the shadows are a little different, on the bad guys and the.
No, I actually like this art. I was mainly booing the game, but it does give you like that sense of, okay, well, it's that wartime usually. In fact, I think at the beginning, I've seen one episode of Vikings, the very first one. I think that opening scene is like in a battle and it's gray and cloudy, and it does the same thing here. I agree with you. If it was sunny or anything like that, it wouldn't give you the same like raw anger.
Right.
So this one does a pretty good job.
Yeah, and that same kind of real art of those Vikings and stuff are in the game as well. Um, but yeah, this covers just kind of makes it stand out for me.
Right.
And then there are the Kickstarter that they did after this one, Titans, I think. It had a lot of the same kind of stuff, only it was like orange and
Which Titans? There were two Kickstarter games.
well, it was by Lucas Wozniak. It was just,
Oh, okay.
I think it was either Titan or Titans. I can't remember.
Who did the art for this?
Titans 2020. It's the art's gonna be, oh gosh, I'm not even gonna try.
I know, I'm looking at it.
Do you see the cover that I'm talking about on Titans?
No. I'm looking at the art for Valhalla.
Oh, okay. This is the Titans.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's got a lot of the same realism art and stuff like that. But I just like this one because that blue makes everything kind of stand out, and that the symbols right there, and the Viking and stuff. But
yeah, this is a good one.
Like
for the record, the artist is Barbara Golbueska or Golubioka. They need like those little speakers next to their names that you can click on, and it's the person pronouncing their name.
Yeah, it's this is made from a Polish company.
Yeah,
they're from Poland and stuff. So there's a lot of.
She's done nothing else. She's only done the art for this game.
Really, it's pretty good. Pretty solid.
Sweet.
All right, well that was my number 2.
My number 2 is probably the sexiest artwork on the listing. Yeah, my number 2 is Hunt for the Ring. And the reason why it's number 2, and actually why I have this one over War for the Ring, is because I think this one kind of does a better job depicting the actual theme of the game. Well, I guess that's not true. War of the Ring has that war on it, but it's mainly envisioning a Gondor knight and then also a Nazgul. Here, it's definitely focusing on what I envision the Fellowship of the Ring. So you have the 4 different hobbits that are actually hiding within the trees with the Nazgul, on his black horse. I mentioned how Talisman had that kind of old school D&D art. This one, all the art that I've seen for Lord of the Rings, even on their book covers and in the extras, and I think I have a book that centers around the art for Lord of the Rings. They just did a really good job at mimicking that. And personally, Fellowship of the Ring is actually my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. So that also goes into me picking this one. But I mean, you can even see that, like, you have the sunlight, and the fact I love that you can just see the sun breaking through the trees in those beams. But that doesn't deter you away from the fact that they're hiding for their lives from these basically demons. And you can even look in the back and see another ring wraith following this one. I love it. I love this art style. They did a great job at also just capturing the essence of the forest. So yeah.
That's a good one. I like it too.
That's my number 2. Actually, I'm gonna look up War of the Ring. That game's huh?
To see the artist, or just to look at the cover?
I just wanted to see the cover again, because it's funny whenever I mean, this one's really good too, but I just think this one is kind of done a little bit better. But actually, I think the cover for War of the Ring is supposed to be King Theoden and the head of the Witch King.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Yeah.
I don't know. This one I feel like just had a little bit more color, a little bit more life to it than the other one. But the art for Hunt for the Ring, the artist, I wonder. So for War of the Ring, it's John Howe. Hunt for the Ring is John Howe, same artist. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's my number 2.
All right. Well, my number 1 is the coolest art.
It's actually, I think I remember it now, and it was one that I was gonna pick, but it felt too busy with no sense of direction. But go ahead. There it is.
the color scheme on this is just so vibrant. Like you can't look away. And like I understand what you're saying, that there's a lot of craziness happening. I mean, the theme of this is that you're um, sorcerers, you're battling in the core game over this for London. Uh,
Yeah.
um, and you just smash up style, create your sorcerer and go for it, in battle for
Yeah.
that. Yes. What I like about this one is that, like I said, that the colors are sharp. I like that it's almost like a first person view because you have the hand on the bottom right,
Yeah.
so it's like what that sorcerer is seeing. Um, it's just, there's just craziness going on all over the place. And if it doesn't show, like if the art goes onto the sides of the box as well, like if you turn the box on its side and went around, there's like all this crazy art on that stuff too,
Yeah.
not just the front of the cover. Um, and with all the other stuff that's coming out now, uh, it all kind of fits the same theme. The packs have some little bit different themes, whereas the Insane Asylum,
Yeah.
the art's different in that. I don't like. You probably remember that, right?
Yeah. It has a
That's
this one
creepy,
still has like that fantasy Victorian era art
right?
style. The other one seems more modern day Insane Asylum. It's very gory.
Right.
Uh, I mean, the game is dark. The game is very much dark
Yes.
fantasy, and I mean, this box cover does a great job doing that. I just my like I like it, but for me, it's like I know they're trying to do the first person with like that hand that's there, but it's like she's not doing anything.
Right.
Like it's just a hand.
Well, and technically, though, I mean that kind of fits though, because if you think about the game, um, the sorcerers don't do a whole lot. They're sending
Mm,
out their minions to take
true.
areas for them. So like it's technically like it'd be cooler if somewhere in that picture they showed another sorcerer like in the background, or maybe that is way back there in the back where the yellow is. See that back there?
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering because it's almost like they're just sending all their people at each other, trying to take over that area.
See, that's what I thought the guy in the middle was. I thought he was the other sorcerer. Him,
He isn't. I don't think he is. I mean,
because I mean, because I mean, yeah, you're right. The sorcerers in the game, like, yeah, you place them, and that's who you're playing as. But you can play monsters and other cards anywhere,
right.
like at the different bases. So yeah, you're right. The monsters really are the ones fighting one another.
Yeah, I can't
So
think
that's true.
there. Anyway, that's what I've always kind of thought. Anyway,
Because I kind of envision it as magic. Like you as the player are a planeswalker,
mhm,
and so you're never seen anywhere. Everything you're playing as cards are things that you are summoning,
right.
and the other planeswalkers are coming in to help you. Here in the game, you actually have a token of yourself that you're placing at location. So that's what made me think, oh, okay, it needs to be that guy versus that guy.
Well, you
But
go there, but it's like your influence is there, like because those
mm,
abilities from each of the decks that you have aren't necessarily attacks all the time. They're more like
true.
you can give an extra omen token, or you can do this and that. It's kind of like helping
Oh, because
things there.
yeah,
You know?
because your modifiers and things only happen at the spot where your miniature is at.
Right. And there's a
Yep.
lot of artists for this game, a lot of names I'm not even going to try. The only one that I know of is Peter Schultz. That one's easy because he's he's the designer as well. So,
Oh yeah.
but then there's a lot of Elena Kubakova, Vasek Pinchik, Pavel Sirocek, and
Ah, Jan Drenovec.
yeah. So, but anyway, and they have a Kickstarter that's going to be coming back out here within maybe a month or so. I think is what they've been saying. It's going to bring in some more packs to add to this game. Then they're also going to be doing the campaign, the solo / co-op, where you can create your sorcerers and go into this deal, and then during that campaign, you actually create the bad guy the same way. They've been releasing a little bit of information, so you have like an army, a theme of it, and then they call man eaters are what the bad ones are, and so you'll combine a deck for the bad guy as well. and it makes
That's pretty sweet.
it's co-op and solo, and it was supposed to go to Kickstarter a few months ago. They do live streams every Tuesday morning talking about it, and they said they decided to wait because they wanted to add more stuff to the game.
Oh, okay.
So they've been play testing more stuff and getting.
I'm really hoping that the Kickstarter for this isn't solely that cooperative campaign. Like, I would love more decks to actually
No,
fight.
that's why I said they're putting out. I want to say maybe 6 new packs.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe 1 or 2 sorcerers and domains and stuff. Yeah, there's plus the stuff that's in the solo campaign. I think you can play it in the field too. It's all kind of integrated, but
badass.
I'm super excited for that. That's one that I really want to. I'm bummed that I don't get to do Origins this year.
Why?
Yeah.
Just go.
So anyway, Sorcerer.
Did they officially cancel Origins?
Not yet. They rescheduled. They're going to do a virtual Origin.
That's right.
In June, and then in October they're going to try to do it.
That's right. Yeah, Gen Con, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just waiting for the convention center to cancel it.
I had heard Gen Con to make a decision on May 1st. Today's May 1st. So
right. It's going to be one of those things that it's like, even if they don't cancel it, are people really going to go?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, I would. That means less people there.
Yeah. But you're going to get a lot of game like White Wizard Games.
Yeah.
Even if they're having them, they're not going to any of them this year.
I can imagine that being
because they're planning, getting their stuff, products there and all that stuff, that they're just not going to do it this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my number 1. Let's see.
Awesome. And my number 1 is the best art ever made. Yes. I actually forgot this was my number 1. Like, this game art. I'm not even going to talk about the game. This game cover is so cool. And it does so much. I mean, I am going to talk about the game a little bit, but whenever you first see this, you just think, oh, this is a pretty cool, very dark, world and art style. And it is. But whenever you get a little bit more into the game and the story, then this cover starts to make a lot more sense. And I think that just adds an extra layer on the art, on the box art. But obviously, when you see this, you think, oh, okay, what is that giant statue? What's it holding? Obviously, it's called Tainted Grail. So immediately, when anyone hears Grail, they think, the Holy Grail, so King Arthur. Who is that man, stabbed and on that stone slab? And for me, I'm a huge fan of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, those types of games, which is what this whole world kind of feels like. It feels a lot more like Dark Souls, with the encroaching darkness. And these statues here are called menhirs, which are beacons that hold back the actual darkness. And so it's just, this one is so cool. And I think out of all of the artwork that I was looking at, because when you're looking at box art, at least for me, you find out a lot of it is pretty bad. And the way I made my list was how much did it give the sense of the actual game, what the game was about. And this one does a phenomenal job actually showing that. And it's vague enough that when you see it, you're curious. Okay, he's surrounded, it looks like, by Stonehenge. There's a dead body in the middle with a sword hanging out of it, and then some weird statue creature-esque standing above it. What does all this mean? And it all comes to light once you start playing the game. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it. You almost wonder if that's Excalibur in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you don't know,
or
like, a lot of, here's the great thing. The game does a lot of like alluding to a lot of things, but you don't really ever find out until later on. Luckily, you do find out, and it's not like Kingdom Death Monster where you have no idea what is going on at all.
Right.
Here it actually tells you as you, and I mean, you don't even find everything. There's multiple decisions, multiple things, paths within this game that you come to, that slowly things will start coming to light, maybe, if you decide to go down that path.
Right.
So this one is my number 1. I love this artwork. So,
all right.
So yeah. Well, that's it, everyone. That is our top 10 box arts. I hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think. Well, let us know what your favorite box art is in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.